Hey guys, Legendary Grimlock here, and today we're scaling Grimlock. Haven't scaled this boy in a while. Have not scaled the namesake of this channel in a while. So y'all already know we got the evidence on deck here, and let's begin with strength. Grimlock has actually beaten the crap out of some of the biggest Decepticon names in the verse here. Beaten the crap out of Tarn so bad that he actually has to wear his mask because Grimlock left scars on him. He's one-shot the likes of Devastator, overpowered Fortress Maximus, and no, this isn't, your standard Fortress Maximus where he's a giant Titan. This is a different Fortress Maximus who actually scales to Overlord, a Decepticon again around the same level as Megatron. He's beaten down Scorponok on like multiple occasions. Like this dude straight up. It's funny how he beats him just like on these occasions as well here. He just doesn't. He just kind of has enough of Scorponok's nonsense and just clobbers him, just tears him apart. And then you have the feats he does in the recent comic run where he beat the Quintessons and he beat Soltron. And this was actually in a much more vulnerable position where Grimlock actually had to let this guy into his spark so that he wouldn't hurt one of his human friends named Araco. So he let Soltron into a spark, right, and actually overpowered him. Like this dude was in Soltron's element, Soltron's natural control, and Grimlock just winds up getting a hold of him and ripping him to shreds. Like, dude, he just absolutely demolishes him. Now let's go on to durability. Grimlock has been unfazed by Shockwave's firepower, and this is going to be pretty important for later. And Shockwave even stated that I didn't expect that. He was again unfazed by Optimus Prime's firepower, where he kind of just looks at Optimus Prime like, dude, why'd you blast me? And this was when Grimlock was about to lose control. He's also taken blasts from Soltron's avatars, such as the Golden One, who had, I guess you could say, halfway portion of Soltron's power, where he took one from an Araco-possessed Soltron, who had the full totality of Soltron's, power, as she gave herself over to him willingly. So pretty much the full strength and full power of Soltron was being blasted at Grimlock, and he just had to figure out a way to get Soltron out of Araco's body without killing her. Grimlock is also durable down to, well, not down to his very spark-soul, but down to his very molecules. This dude was able to tank antimatter, all right? Took a beating from an antimatter and Megatron, who was being mind-controlled by Auntie, but still was in a killing-like mood. And as we see here, it pretty much just annihilated Grimlock's sword. And then, in order to save Megatron, Grimlock actually dives through a field of antimatter. Again, this is the same thing that disintegrated his sword here, which is known to cut ion particles, the smallest particles known to man, and he just dove through it. Grimlock was also able, once he got control of his amalgamous energy and took a beating from Predaking, he actually was able to slice off Predaking's arm, was able to then become Volcanicus and one-shot Predaking. We then have the rest of the Dinobots scaling to go over, where the Dinobots fought the army of Cybertron. But first, let's really talk about that here. Grimlock is easily the strongest one of the Dinobots and actually was able to systematically defeat the Dinobots just by, well, knowing them and being more experienced than them. He was actually trying to reason with them, but they were actually like so mad at him and they just wanted to like really attack him, and I guess you could say like hurt him, maybe even injure him. However, Grimlock actually just had, when he had enough of just trying to reason with them, he then went on to pretty much just demolish the rest of his team here. He basically dodged Swoop, who's faster than Seekers, smashed Snarl, and then clobbered even using Sludge to hit Swoop, meaning he has to grab, move, and swing Sludge at such a speed that he has to intercept Swoop coming at him full speed here. And this is when, the Cybertron scaling, where the Dinobots were actually able to fight against the Cybertron army. We have Snarl being able to literally blast back and knock out Omega Supreme. And then you have characters like Swoop, who's faster than the Aerialbots and Seekers combined. So then you have Grimlock pretty much being able to beat a prepared Shockwave and being able to hold Optimus Prime at sword point. And Optimus Prime stated, "This is why we installed a fail-safe for you, just in case you would turn on us." This is when Grimlock will go on to get his intelligence back and will be able to actually identify the weak points of Skylynx and go on to one-shot him. And Skylynx was actually able to defeat the other Dinobots at that time as well. You also have the fact that he fought Primacon. Now you might say again that these are Volcanicus feats, but you have to remember only one person can be in control of a combiner. This means that Grimlock has full control of the actions and will of this combiner. And by the way, once he actually got his amalgamous energy up and then decided that he had enough, he actually one-shot this evil avatar Primus. Now remember, I said avatar, not the true entity. He was also been able to slice Megatron in half with that sword. That sword is absolutely ridiculous. Being able to slice ion particles, being able to, cut through just combiners like Predaking with ease. And he's actually ridiculously fast, being able to intercept Swoop, being able to intercept an incoming Jetfire with ease. And this one, Jetfire worked for the Decepticons. And he's done a plethora of things. Even took attacks from the Fallen before he became an actual Dinobot. So again, you could say this is a much weaker body. He also possesses things like, again, the amalgamous energy, which allows him to absorb and redirect energy, being able to, block energy blasts. He has a sword. He has a shield that can tank the same amount of damage. He's also able to use, he's also a very skilled fighter, being trained in pit fighting, actually being a master at it. However, he does know other forms of martial arts, even knowing some human forms of combat, such as boxing and, just other grand capabilities overall. So without further ado, let's begin the scaling. And we have the fact that he was able to beat the Guardians of the Ark. And this is when Auntie, the Ark's AI system, was programming them with things like Skids' capability to read and learn an opponent's moves. And yet Grimlock was still able to beat down these Guardians, who again scaled to Skids, Trax, Grapple, Hoist, and I think Blue Streak as well. So these guys should have been just as capable as Skids, who can copy and learn everything in an instance. If you guys want full detail, go to the Superpowered Transformers Part 1 and just wait for Skids' part. You then have Soltron scaling, with Soltron himself actually being confirmed to be an ancient god. You could honestly put that in the elder gods here, as they're pretty much known as like old gods. But then again, you could actually say there's a difference between old gods and elder gods, which in some occasions there are, in some occasions they're not. But needless to say, Soltron actually has infinite stats, meaning infinite strength, speed, and durability. And Grimlock was able to casually beat this guy in his own turf. You then have the Devastator scaling, with Devastator being able to not only just straight up crumble Galvatron beneath his heels, but actually Devastator was able to fight off a possessed Metroplex, and being able to fight against Monstructor, who's one of the few combiners that can actually stand up to Omega Supreme. You could say, well, this is because he has Prowl's Mind a part of him. Again, I would say that yes, he does have a bit of a mental amp, but his strength level should be just around the same, or he probably could be a bit stronger here. However, this still remains the fact that Galvatron has been able to kill multiversal singularities. And then you have characters like Tarn, who has been able to beat up a pacifist Megatron, who still has the capability of withstanding black holes and even having the power to beat up characters such as Devoid. However, the Shockwave scaling is where we really have to get into it, where he was able to pretty much one-shot someone like Onyx Prime. And Onyx Prime not only being a multiversal singularity, but actually one of the few primes that has the capability to travel to the astral plane and actually just do pretty much whatever he wants in there. He could take a spark out, he could interact with the sparks, he can examine them. But you might say that's not very impressive, and I might say, yeah, you got a point. Being able to travel to the astral plane via your your own mask and stuff, I guess you could say that's not really impressive. But Onyx Prime is stronger than the Fallen. He actually terrified the Fallen to actually running through the Transformers multiverse. All right, actually just like terrified this man for centuries. Like, this dude was running from different ages just trying to escape the trying to escape the Fallen here. And sorry, trying to escape Onyx Prime here. And then you have the sheer fact that not only was he able to kill Prima, but he was able to kill Solus Prime. And then the scaling for the Fallen is absolutely ridiculous. I've already explained half of it in my How Strong is Unicron video. But again, the Fallen is able to destroy the universal time stream, which is a collective of all the universes put together. And then you have the fact that he does scale relative or at least above some versions of IDW Optimus Prime. And this would include Heart of Steel Optimus Prime, who I would say Grimlock is stronger than. This is because, again, the Dinobot boost is very important here. And plus, his feats kind of speak for itself here. With Grimlock being able to hurt Trypticon at a Optimus Prime, thinking that he needed the Matrix in order to hurt Trypticon when he couldn't do it naturally. With that being said, that Optimus Prime is stronger than his Heart of Steel self, who was able to beat an Elder God who was a threat to the Transformers universes. There's also the fact that Grimlock could scale to the Matrix, and this is where you actually get into characters like Primo Prime, who was known as a living Matrix of leadership. And this is important because Primo Prime is able to exist on the same plane as the Vok, who are actually one with the Transformers multiverse and actually just expand across it entirely. And their dimension sits way above the multiverse, and yet Onyx Prime is able to, Primo Prime is able to exist in it entirely. Then you have the Avatar of Unicron, Avatar Primus scaling, where you have a Prime, pretty much he's equal to Unicron is the best way I could say it. However, he does scale. This Neo Primus, if you will, is above this Golden Megatron, who could bridge all realities together. So overall, Grimlock is an opponent I don't think a lot of Decepticons would really want to fight. Actually, a lot of Decepticons fear him and the Dinobots on the battlefield simply because of their ferocity and brutality, plus the sheer power of them. Even Megatron on a couple of occasions has been known to fear Grimlock because of his power. Overall, if I had to scale Grimlock, I would say he scales relative to IDW Optimus Prime when he is using the Matrix. I would say he's a bit below him due to Haxes. However, in terms of like physical might, like physical strength, he is well above him. But that's going to be all for today, you guys. Comment down below, like and subscribe, and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.